Like most things this year, Power Pulse editions have been put on hold. But we're back to bring you the latest news in the safest format possible. You may notice it looks and feels a bit different, but we appreciate your patience while we work through these extraordinary times. I'm Shay Phillips. Thank you for joining us. With the coronavirus taking hundreds of thousands of lives all across the globe, safety at EKPC has never been more important. This spring, employees pivoted quickly by changing the ways they work in order to protect coworkers, families, communities, and themselves from COVID-19. Terry Lang, an operator at Spurlock Station, used her sewing skills and spare time to make hundreds of face masks for coworkers, nurses, and others. When EKPC's supply of hand sanitizer began running low, lab supervisor Tim Yates started making it for his coworkers. As Mike Willoughby, manager of Safety, Security, and Facilities, said, getting sanitizer was almost impossible in March. The sanitizer Tim made helped us get a much-needed supply at a difficult time. At Spurlock Station, in the middle of one of EKPC's largest construction projects ever, nearly 1,000 workers stayed safe while completing the 10-week Unit Number 1 outage and key parts of the CCR ELG project. By wearing masks, taking daily temperature screenings, and social distancing, they kept each other safe and the project on schedule. Field crews and shifts segregated from each other and focused on work that required only one person. Finance employees shifted from in-person training to Zoom meetings to teach a new budgeting system. They also helped members obtain federal Paycheck Protection Program funds, offered flexibility on wholesale power payments, worked with owner members on bill relief for their key accounts, and supported the refinancing of federal co-op loans. Supply chain made sure that masks, disinfectants, hand soap, and critical parts from manufacturers around the nation continued to ship so that vital projects could be completed on time. While member services provided printing, graphic design, and numerous COVID-19 communications for owner members and employees. Information technology answered many calls on the help desk and ensured that office employees had the needed equipment and software to shift to work from home. The facilities team turned the wash bay into a drive-through station where staff got their temperatures taken to reduce the risk of an infected person entering buildings. Employees showed innovation by putting in dividers in bathrooms and installing electronic temperature stations. We asked EKPC's Tom Stacknick how the pandemic has impacted load and finances.
Well, due to the lockdowns, March and April load was hit by as much as about 10%. But what we've been seeing in recent months, June and July, has been a significant improvement back to a more normal level. If the recovery continues as it is now, we would expect that for the full year, we might be down about 3%. But having said that, if businesses start to shut back down again, that could change that expectation. There are two positive things to note, though. First of all, fuel and purchase power prices have been low, and those savings have been passed on to our end-use members. Secondly, even though revenues are down, we've also kept expenses low. As a matter of fact, through June, we are actually ahead of budget on margin, and that's really good news.
EKPC will continue to closely monitor developments in this unprecedented year. But despite the worldwide pandemic, it has been incredible the many ways that employees have taken care of each other, kept the lights on, and costs down during several of the most challenging months in the history of EKPC, the nation, and the world. Bluegrass and Spurlock stations continue to tackle major construction projects that are helping transform EKPC for a successful future. Purchasing Bluegrass Station in Oldham County in 2015 enabled EKPC to take a major stride in the strategic plan objective to diversify the fuel supply. The plant's 3 combustion turbines are powered by natural gas and set on 60 acres near LaGrange. Last year, EKPC began a $62.8 million project to add diesel as a secondary fuel source to ensure that the plant can reliably operate if natural gas is unavailable and to ensure performance requirements in the PJM market. EKPC has been installing 2 580,000-gallon tanks for diesel fuel and another 275,000-gallon tank for demineralized water. In July, employees began filling one of the larger new tanks with diesel. By the end of this year, EKPC will have the tanks installed and ready. Another major project that continues at Spurlock Station is CCR ELG. When the project is complete, both Units 1 and 2 will use dry handling of coal ash. EKPC took a major step forward on the project by changing Unit Number 1 to a dry ash disposal system during the spring. Removal of the hopper beneath Unit 1 began in March during a 10-week spring outage. Contractors cut the nearly 12-foot tall hopper in half and then installed a new air-cooled hopper, providing a reliable dry bottom ash conveying system that will meet the CCR regulations. A new wastewater treatment plant has also nearly been completed to treat all scrubber waste. Ultimately, the project will close the 67-acre ash storage facility on the Ohio River. That will meet the standards of the federal new CCR and ELG rules and position Spurlock Station for a sustainable future. In a project separate from the CCR ELG, teams demolished the original cooling tower for Unit 1 and replaced it with a new one, a project that is captured in this time-lapse footage. The completion of the Unit 1 outage on the CCR ELG project required more than 550,000 hours worked over a 37-month course, an amazing feat during a worldwide pandemic. The great innovator Walt Disney once said, "Times and conditions change so rapidly that we must keep our aim constantly focused on the future." And the utility industry is definitely changing. Culture, workforce, technology, markets, and regulations are evolving. That's why EKPC is focusing on sustainability efforts. 5 employee-led teams are exploring how change will affect the co-op and plans for the future. The 5 teams include owner members. They are working to ensure EKPC is consistent in vision and relationships with owner members. They're also studying how to adapt to better serve their changing needs. Employees. This team is looking at ways to promote a dynamic and evolving workforce to future-proof EKPC. Energy and environment. They're working on strategies to increase fuel diversity, decrease carbon emissions, and promote environmental stewardship throughout the co-op. Electric grid. Their purpose is to ensure that EKPC increases transmission system security, reliability, and resiliency. Financial health. This team is working to support the development of responsible financial sustainability principles that ensure EKPC's long-term viability. Shifting member expectations is one reason EKPC is focusing on sustainability. Intercounty Energy and EKPC are working closely to provide 100% renewable energy for Diageo's new $130 million distillery being built in Lebanon. The new plant will be one of the largest carbon-neutral distilleries in North America. When it's complete and operational by 2021, it will include a 72,000 square foot distillery and dry house, along with 12 barrel warehouses on 144 acres. It will feature electrode boilers to eliminate direct greenhouse gas emissions.
When Diageo was having the groundbreaking for this facility, our economic development team and Jerry Carter were talking to them about the power supply, and they suggested that they look at going completely green given their sustainability goals. And this got traction with Diageo and really led us down the path of putting together a 100% green contract with Diageo.
Diageo will license 330 solar panels from Cooperative Solar Farm 1. EKPC will also enter into power purchase agreements for additional renewable energy to supply the distillery.
We're seeing a lot of our distribution cooperatives being contacted by their commercial and industrial customers inquiring about how much CO2 is in per megawatt hour is in the power supply. And I think this is indicative of their customers asking them so that they decide whether it's their product or somebody else's product that they're interested in the future. I think Diageo is a real leader in the distillery space with regard to sustainability and lowering their CO2 for their products. So I think that's a real positive thing for Diageo.
We thank EKPC for their support in providing access to renewable electricity and look forward to continued community partnership for a sustainable future.
This project underscores EKPC's diverse power supply mix, which can meet members' needs in a safe, reliable, affordable, and sustainable manner. In February, Kentucky's Touchstone Energy Cooperatives welcomed more than 250 national, state, and local economic development leaders to Frankfort. Attendees learned about ways to increase business development while having a little fun at Co-op-A-Palooza. Nationally acclaimed guest speakers included Dee Caldwell and Laurie Vincent, along with Jim Raspberry and Josh Noel, part of HGTV's show Hometown. Caldwell, who founded Global Location Strategies, said rural Kentucky communities can take advantage of changes in technology, demographics, and policy. Laurie Vincent, author of Stand Up Rural America, Get Yourself a Seat at the Big Table, inspired guests with stories of how economic development leaders can meet the unique needs of rural Kentucky. The HGTV team shared entertaining stories of helping to revitalize their hometown of Laurel, Mississippi.
We wanted to have an event to say thank you. We wanted to bring together local and state and national officials that work with us every day in economic development to learn together, to experience together, to expand our knowledge together. We've got internationally known site selectors and real estate professionals joining us today.
Economic development efforts by Kentucky's Touchstone Energy Cooperatives over the last 5 years have helped to attract business investments worth nearly $6 billion and to create 12,000 jobs for rural Kentucky.
Creating jobs and investment, that's what we do. That's what the co-ops are all about. They have always worked hard to improve the quality of life for the members that we serve, and that's what our intention is today.
That's it for this Power Pulse edition. We leave you with highlights from the 2020 Safety All-Stars Awards. Until next time, remember, safety is the right thing to do.